And the goal of leadership isn't to be needed, remember. It's to be unnecessary. Not because you don't matter, but because you're building something that runs on trust, clarity, and ownership instead of running on There's a moment that ended my career as a manager. I didn't get fired, I didn't quit, but the version of me that controlled everything, approved everything, and needed to be at the center of every decision, that version died in one conversation. And I'll tell you exactly what was said and who said it in a minute. But first, I need you to understand why everything you were taught about leadership is backwards. Hey everyone, I'm John Espinosa, 20 years of team building. I run 4 organizations right now, and here's what nobody told me when I started the skills that get you promoted into leadership are the exact skills that make you fail at leadership. You got promoted because you were good at doing the work. You're reliable, detail-oriented, productive. You got things done. So naturally, when you become the leader, you just keep doing the thing that got you there. Doing the work, checking the details, making sure that everything meets your standard. But here's the trap. What made you a great contributor makes you a terrible leader, because it isn't about doing the work. It's about making other people capable of doing the work without you. And most managers never make that shift. They spend their entire career managing, directing, correcting, and approving. Sound familiar? When what your team actually needs is someone who leads, someone who trusts, someone who develops and gets out of the way. So today I'm going to show you the one shift that separates managers from leaders, and it's way simpler than you think. So here it is. Managers create followers. Leaders create leaders. There's no mystery why this channel in my consulting business is called Leaders Leading Leaders. Because if your team can't function without you, you haven't built a team. You've built a bunch of dependency. And the moment that you're sick, the moment that you want to go on vacation with the family, or you get promoted, everything is going to fall apart. And the goal of leadership isn't to be needed, remember. It's to be unnecessary. Not because you don't matter, but because you're building something that runs on trust, clarity, and ownership instead of running on you. So, one shift makes this real. Let me show you. So the shift is this. In every interaction with your team, stop asking yourself, how do I get this? Just a quick pause in our episode. This might be exactly what you need to hear. If you're currently leading a team, or you want to lead a team, and you're spending your days putting out fires, you're not failing, you're just stuck. Because when everything feels urgent, nothing actually improves. And over time, that starts to chip away at our confidence as a leader. I've led teams under pressure for years, and firefighting isn't about effort, it's about those missing leadership systems. When expectations are clear and ownership is real, our teams, they stop reacting and they start solving problems without us. So if you're ready to lead instead of react, click on the link below, book a call, check out our consulting programs. All right, back to the episode. This done. And start asking yourself, how do I make them better at getting this done? You see the difference there? That one question changes everything. Just watch. So imagine this. Before I made the shift, you got to go back sometime. The directing leader, every single time a team member come to me with a problem, my gut instinct was to solve it. Give them the answer. Tell them what to do, right? I mean, I was the problem solver. I was the fixer. They leave with the solution, and it made me feel useful. But what did they learn? Absolutely nothing. They learn that when they have a problem, they come to you. You just train them to be dependent on your brain instead of developing their own. So the next week, guess what? Same person, different problems, same thing happens. And the week after that, and the week after that, until your entire day is other people's problems. And you start to wonder why you never have time to think strategically. Does this sound familiar? So here's what it's going to look like after the shift. The developing leader, same team member, same problem, but instead of solving it, you're going to ask 3 questions. First one, what have you done so far? Or what have you tried so far? This tells you whether they've actually thought about it or whether they're defaulting to you instead as a shortcut. It also respects their intelligence. You're assuming that they've already made an effort. Question 2, what do you think is the best option? So 9 times out of 10, they already know the answer, right? They've already come up with an answer. They just don't trust themselves to act on it. And when you ask this, you're giving them that permission to trust their own judgment. Question number 3, what do you need for me to move forward? This is the key. You're not abandoning them, right? You're not saying go figure it out. You're saying I'm here to support you, but you own the solution. That's it. 3 questions, 30 seconds, and instead of creating a follower, you just developed a leader. Now, let me tell you about the conversation I mentioned at the top. I was about 2 years in to leadership and or the role that I was in, and I thought I was crushing it. I mean, my team was hitting all the numbers, my projects, they were coming on time. I was involved in everything. Then one of my most trusted team members asked for a meeting, talk privately, and she said, John, can I be honest with you? I said, hey, yeah, sure. She said, you're the hardest working person on this team, and that's the problem. You do everything, you check everything, you're in every conversation. And because of that, none of them were growing. They don't make decisions because I was making them for them. They didn't take any risks because I was catching it before they tried. I mean, I feel like I've been in the same role for 2 years, and she said I hadn't learned a single new thing because I never gave them the chance to fail. And that was the moment. Not because she was wrong, because she was 100% right. I was doing everything for my team. And then, to pile on top of that, I was calling it leadership. But what I was actually doing was suffocating them because the tighter I held on, the smaller that they got. So the next Monday, this is where it changed. I walked into our team meeting and I said, things are going to change starting this week. You're going to own more. I'm going to direct less. And some things, guess what? They might not go perfectly, and that's okay because I would rather have a team that's learning and growing than a team that's dependent on me. And I'll tell you, just be very honest with you, it was terrifying. It was the most terrifying thing that I did to that point. But it was the best leadership decision as far as like overall light bulb moment when I decided that I was going to make that switch. I haven't turned back since. If this series, I want to just take a pause because if this is shifting the way that you think about leadership, the signs, you're the boss, people leave, the micromanagement episode that we had in this series, and now this, please hit that subscribe button. Every week, I'm breaking down the old habits that keep you as leaders stuck. It kept me stuck, and I'm replacing them with what actually works. This is the kind of channel where one episode changes how you show up on Monday morning. So do me a favor and hit subscribe because you don't want to miss what's next. All right, I want to move into a 3-question framework. So let me show you how fast this works in situations that you all face every single day. When somebody brings you a decision to make, guess what? You're not going to make it. you're going to ask what their recommendation is. And if it's a reasonable recommendation, you're going to say, go with it. I trust you. Now, if it needs a little bit of refinement, you're going to coach. You're not going to correct. When a project isn't going the way that you'd like it done or you would do it, ask yourself, is the outcome at risk, or is this just a different approach? Is this a different way from what I normally take? If the outcome is fine, then you got to learn how to let it go. Your way isn't the only way. It's just your way. Another scenario, when someone makes a mistake, don't rescue them, but don't lecture them either. I want you to ask, hey, what happened? What did you learn, and what would you have done differently? That one conversation is going to build more capability than you think, especially if they're used to you swooping in to fix it all the time, right? And then the last one, you're tempted to jump back in because this is where I was. I wanted to get back into the game. I felt I wasn't need to ask anybody to do something that I wasn't going to do myself. But I want you to ask yourself this leadership gut question. This is a gut check, right? Am I doing this because the team needs me, or am I doing it because I need to feel needed? Now, be honest with yourself here, because that answer is going to tell you everything. All right, we're going to tie this into our lead framework and get into some application. So listen to what your team is telling you through their behavior. If they continue to bring you every problem, it's because you've trained them to. So listen to that pattern, and then you're just going to break it. Envision your team 6 months from now. They're going to make every decision without you. They're going to solve problems on their own. They're going to take ownership without being asked. That's the team that you want to build when you shift from directing to developing. Alignment. You're going to align every interaction with this question. Am I creating a follower right now, or am I creating a leader? And then drive. You're going to drive this shift starting tomorrow. Next time somebody brings you a problem, don't solve it. Ask the 3 questions. That's the entire assignment. 1 conversation, 3 questions. Just watch what it changes. So let me land this and really land the entire series here. Traditional leadership is dying, and it should, because the old model, control, correction, approval, presence, right? It is built compliant teams, not capable ones. And the leader who thrives from here will be the ones who stop trying to be the smartest person in the room. And they're going to start building rooms full of smart people. So who stops solving every problem and starts asking the question? That person is going to make their people capable of solving problems on their own. And when we stop measuring their value by how much they're needed and start measuring it by how well they perform, guess what? This is where the magic sauce is. That's not weakness. That's the highest form of leadership that there is. And, for the most part, I want to tell you, this is a shift that changed the way that I lead teams. It changed the way that I felt about how I need to show up every single day for a leader, as a leader, for my teams, for my companies, and my organizations. So I'm here to tell you, this isn't philosophy. These are proven techniques. These are mistakes that I made. These are situations that I learned from. And I'm just lucky enough to be able to share them with you. So that way you don't make those same mistakes and you continue to grow in your leadership. If somebody hasn't told you this today, I believe in you. I believe that you can change. I believe that you can implement these techniques starting tomorrow. Make sure that you're subscribed. Drop a comment if this was useful. Share it with somebody that may be going through one of those times. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to you on the next episode. Bye-bye.